Hello, beautifuls. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to start today with a short parable. It's a Sufi parable, and it starts off with this gentleman by the name of Mullah, and he is under a street lamp on his hands and knees, and his friend approaches him. It's in the evening, and his friend approaches him and says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I lost my keys. I'm looking for my keys." And his friend says, "Oh, you lost your keys under the street lamp?" He said, "No, I lost them over there by the bushes in the dark, but it's much easier to see here." Why am I sharing this parable? Because it's applicable to what we see today, individually and collectively. You know, when we look at our society, I'm sure you will agree with me that much of it is dysfunctional, right? We have things like inflation. We have citizens in our communities that are homeless, that are starving, that aren't afforded education. We have animals that are being treated cruelly. We treat our environment poorly. And yet we seem to go along being like, well, it's status quo. That's the way we've always done things. That's just the way things are. Right? And with that kind of mentality, things will always be that way or will progressively become worse. What I'm offering today is a different perspective. And not just in regards to the collective and in regards to society, but individually. And that is to start looking for the root of the problem in the dark of the bushes. See, we think that we know what the problem is. We think we know how to solve the problem. And in that place, we're really looking for our keys under the light of the lamp because it's easier, right? When really we have to go to those dark bushes. And what do I mean by that? I mean that we have to start challenging the way we think. You know, so much of what we do as a society and as what we believe is our identity as an individual is based on our belief. That's it. And because we believe it, it's true. And we don't even, they're so entrenched. They're so entrenched in our way of being that we don't even give 1 second, one inkling of a thought that maybe the way we're thinking is erroneous. That maybe the lenses that we walk through our day with are painted a really bright shade of pink. That maybe our beliefs aren't accurate. That they're faulty, incorrect. And it makes sense why we'd want to look under the lampshade and not in the dark bushes, because in order to challenge our beliefs, it disrupts our whole foundation. It turns our entire system, our entire way of being, our identity upside down. It shakes the very foundation in which we are experiencing life. And an imbalanced ego doesn't like that. So even if we are on a spiritual journey, oftentimes we're going to be looking for those keys under the lamp. Because to really do the work, we have to go dig around in the dark. And in there, we start bumping up against things that we believed were true. Things that we based every decision that we make off of. And we see this in society, right? People would rather die than challenge their belief, right? People are willing to set up camp in this political field or this political field, and they're so entrenched in their ideas, they're not willing to see beyond the labels, to expand. And if we are to grow in a heart-centered way, in a way that's prosperous, productive, and engages all aspects of our being, right? The mental, the physical, the spiritual, the emotional, and our environment. If we are to actually live in a way that addresses all those things, we need to individually and collectively start challenging what we believe. And for the change to take hold collectively, we really have to do that work individually, right? And the invitation, if you are so willing, and it is not an invitation for the faint of heart, is to step into a place today. Pick one thing that you believe about yourself and start to unravel it. Start to challenge it. Is it true? Right? Just because you think it is doesn't mean it is. And then do the same for something that you have accepted as a rule of society. And the more awareness that we create, the more that we start challenging our beliefs, the easier it is. And then it's not so scary to disrupt what we think is our foundation, because we will come up with a heart-centered foundation, the truth of the matter, our authentic self. And in this place, we will experience the bliss of living together harmoniously in a new paradigm. I thank you so much for listening to this perspective, and until we speak again, please be well.